Great. Good morning, folks. Thanks for joining us for our November meeting. I'm sure you probably feel like me that you're wondering, like, how is it November? How is it almost December? I think, I don't know, as you get older, it moves faster. Folks older than me, is this true? It's gonna keep going. So we'll go around and do intros and then, it's a little cheesy, corny, but because Thanksgiving is next week, Thanksgiving has a lot of problems with its like colonial narrative. But one thing I do like about it is we often use it as a time to be um, kind of present and thoughtful and think about the things that we're grateful for. So if you want to introduce yourself and maybe you just mention something that you're thankful for, it could be work related or personal related. We'll go around. So I'm Stephanie Cavino. I'm the executive director of the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative. And I try and be super thankful for the really little things. I was sitting in my backyard yesterday and I was like, wow, I never realized that I have like, if I squint between these trees, like a really pretty little view. And I've never just like sat back there for a few minutes in that one little corner. So yeah, finding those little moments of quiet. Kevin, how about you?
Hi everyone, Kevin, Finance and Program Manager for the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative. Thankful for new opportunities. They can be super scary sometimes, but I have a little sign up next to my desk that I had in my office at the Park Service that Eric's seen before that says, although we can't change the direction of the wind, we can change the direction of our sails. So new opportunities, get to see some new islands every now and then. So super thankful for that.
Love that. Thanks. Eric, welcome back.
Thank you. Bet you can guess what I'm thankful for. I'm Eric Breitkreutz. I'm superintendent of Blackstone River Valley National Historical Park and Roger Williams National Memorial, and I am thankful that the government shutdown is over
Love
for
it.
now.
Yeah. I'm just going to go around my screen. Next, I have Anya.
Hi, everyone. Anya Wolchinsky, Executive Director of Blackstone Heritage Corridor. I'll go on the cheesy personal side. I'm thankful for my husband. This year has been a really crazy, chaotic year, and he's been a great supporter and very patient with long hours, long days, long weeks at Blackstone Heritage Corridor trying to make sense of things. And so, yeah, very thankful for all of his support.
Thanks, Anya. I'm going to go David and then Robert and Nick.
So I'm David Tapscott from Uxbridge Board of Health and MVP projects, and I'm thankful for the people I work with that are very supportive because we're in a political firestorm right now, which is not very comfortable, and and I'm thankful for people that are just straightforward with me. So thank you all.
I Robert Thomas Kearns, and I am the partnerships coordinator alongside my boss Allison at the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration Partnerships Program. Um, and thankful, yeah, I'm thankful for my wife. We got married this September, so that was, I'm grateful for that. That was great. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Thanks, Robert. Nick and then Matthew and Danielle.
Hi there, this is Nick Cohen. I'm an environmental planner with the Horsley Witten Group, and I am thankful for groups like this that keep the environmental work going and inspiring to see the passion and commitment from all the different diverse stakeholders in groups like this, not just in the Blackstone, but other watersheds as well.
Thanks for sticking with the cheesy theme.
Trying to keep it positive.
Hi, I'm Matt Brown. I'm the executive director of ORS. We're the watershed organization for the Sudbury, Assabet, and Concord rivers. And oh boy, I'm thankful for getting to see family that's still around next week, and also for all of our federal partners to get back to work and start getting paid again. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Go ahead, Danielle, and then Judy and Heather.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle. I'm the Watershed Outreach Manager with the Narragansett Bay Estuary Program. And I guess I'll go a little cheesy too, but I'm thankful to just live in such an incredible place. Like, you know, even throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, everywhere I go, I'm always just so amazed by how beautiful nature is and how amazing the places that we get to live in are.
Thanks, Danielle. Judy? Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Judy Rondo. I'm the Non-Point Source Outreach Coordinator in the Watershed Planning Program at Mass DEP. Um, and I'm really grateful to my family. It's been kind of a difficult year for us. We had some serious illness in the family, and my family just kind of rose to the challenge, and it made a difficult situation a little bit more manageable. So I'm very thankful to them.
Thanks, Judy.
Hi, I'm Heather Perry with the Blackstone River Coalition, and I'm thankful for all our volunteers for our water quality monitoring program because when I go Saturday to the labs and see them, they're just so positive and bring a little sunshine to the day. So even if it's pouring rain or snowing.
Yeah, and congratulations on another successful year.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dan, then Drew and Hillary.
Dan Giza, I'm a fishery biologist with Verdantis and also a Tatnick Brook Watershed Association member. After taking my dog out the last couple mornings at 5:30 in the morning, I'm very thankful for my wood stove that I have here.
Absolutely.
Drew Powell. I'm the Urban Resilience Coordinator at DEM. I think I'm really grateful for the many small moments that I've had to kind of just like look around and get to know like this new place that I live in.
Awesome. Thanks. Hillary.
Morning, everybody. Hillary King, she, her pronouns, MVP Program Central Regional Coordinator. Like many others, I'm thankful for community on all levels, family, friends, neighborhood, collaboratives. And yeah, thank you all.
Let's see, everyone's kind of moving around on my screen. I think I have Amanda, Mark, Erin, and Allison.
Hi, I'm Amanda Coffier. I'm a lab tech at Upper Blackstone Clean Water. I think something I'm thankful for this year is community. Especially like in my personal life, like my town has been like a lot of drama, but it's nice to see people coming together in uncertain times and, reaching out to strangers and stuff. So that's really cool.
Thanks, Amanda.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Mello, Blackstone River Valley National Historical Park. I guess I'll go with Eric's and say I'm thankful to be back at work.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you back.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. It's Erin from Senator Reed's office. I'm thankful for our community partners, our federal and state partners and organizations, like all of those represented here in these stressful and uncertain times. You all do incredible work to uplift and inspire. So thank you, everyone, for what you do.
I should have said that I was grateful for so many people telling us what great work we do. That's a rarity in a lot of jobs. Thanks, Erin. Allison?
Good morning. This is Allison from Rhode Island DOT. I'm a stormwater manager for the state. I am thankful for my village of crazy moms. I have two boys that, of course, I'm grateful for and thankful for them, but it's the crazy moms that make my world go round and make it do all of the things that I can do. So being here, working from home, all of the chaos, all of the Ubering for children, all of my moms. I couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely. Definitely takes a village with all the different things that we have in our lives. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Great. Well, thank you all so much. I also am absolutely thankful that I have a job that I like, that I get to work with all of you, that I get to choose my partners, and that the Blackstone and surrounding areas have so many committed individuals. So we're lucky to be here together. So here I'll hand it over to Anya. As she mentioned, she's the executive director of the Blackstone Heritage Corridor, and she's going to give us some updates on their new signage project as well as their legacy campaign. So I'll stop sharing and hand it to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. All right. Cool, cool. Okay. That look okay for everyone? Awesome. All right. So hi everyone. Like I said before, I'm Anya Wolchinski with Blackstone Heritage Corridor. Um, in case you're not familiar with Blackstone Heritage Corridor, I know a lot of you probably are, but just in case not, we are technically the full formal name, Blackstone River Valley National Heritage Corridor. That's the geographic boundary for us. But I will pretty much just say Blackstone Heritage Corridor because it's much, much easier. But we work with community partners to preserve, promote, and celebrate natural, historic, and recreational resources. That looks like a few different things. We run a very robust volunteers and parks program. Shout out to Mark for being my counterpart at the Park Service, counterpart at the Park Service to be able to run this great program with over 250 volunteers. Some of those volunteers lead hikes, like you can see Ernie leading a hike in Rhode Island. Our hikes this year did fantastically well. These are free hikes to get people outdoors, showing them different trails. We saw about 500 people come on these hikes. We only offered 20 hikes the whole year and had over 500 people attend. So really great reception for those. And it's a great intro to some of these places that people have heard of or maybe drive by all the time but never take the chance to check out. And we give them a great intro to checking out this trail or open space. We also run a Bikeway Ambassador program. We manage the paddle club, a lot of great volunteer groups that are getting people outdoors doing recreation activities, and a whole bunch of other little small things that we do as an organization, but those are really the big highlights. Just to zoom out a little bit, we are part of what's known as the National Heritage Areas program. So there are 62 National Heritage Areas across the country, 5 alone in Massachusetts. I like to remind people about this Heritage Areas program because it's a great thing to know if you are traveling to a part of the country that you're like, I don't really know what's here beyond this maybe one park or this one person I'm visiting. It's great to check out National Heritage Areas because you can learn a lot about what's in these different places. But these are all public-private partnerships. Some span, 4 square miles all the way to multiple states and hundreds of miles. But we are lucky to have 5 of them here in Massachusetts. And yeah, so we span 25 cities and towns from Worcester to Providence. It's pretty much the same boundary as the watershed, slight differences in some places, but generally pretty close to the same boundary. So again, I'm Anya. For those of you who don't know me, my background is historic preservation, and then professionally, it's nonprofit operations. I just joined Blackstone Heritage Corridor in January of 2025, so I haven't even been here a full year yet. I joined as their director of volunteers and community engagement, and then about a few months in, stepped into the interim and then permanent executive director role. I say that to also kind of set the stage because the 2 things I'm talking to you about today, signage and the Blackstone River Greenway Bikeway, are not my background. These were kind of projects that were given to me as like, hey, do something with them. So I'm learning as I go, and I'm welcoming so much feedback from folks, figuring out the best way to tackle these things. So signage and the Greenway Bikeway, they're part of a bigger initiative that we're focused on right now, which we're calling the Legacy Campaign. This is a multi-year 1.3 million fundraising initiative that we're focused on to really push forward 5 key initiatives for the organization that, I'm saying are things we want to move forward. Also kind of they've languished. They're things that we haven't had a lot of energy to do or funds to do over the last few years, and we really want to make some progress, some significant progress with these initiatives. So on top of Greenway Bikeway completion, which completion needs an asterisk there. It takes multiple years to complete segments of the trail. So really, we just want to get a lot done over the next few years and see how much we can get done. But we really want to be that constant unifying voice for completion of the bike trail. We're doing the signage refresh, which I'll talk more about in a moment. We also are trying to expand our volunteer program. We want to hire a dedicated part-time person to oversee the administrative elements of it because it is a robust program that requires a lot of reporting and logistical elements. Again, shout out to Mark for being so much of a helper for that. But we really need to be able to have that dedicated person so we can scale up the program and welcome even more volunteers. We really want to invest in our partners. We'd like to bring back our partnership grant program, and that will take many different forms, whether it's matching grants for catalyst projects, for signage, maybe some school grants that we'd like to bring back. We have a lot of ideas there for bringing back partnership grants, and then strengthening the corridor's future. We're not always a nonprofit. We used to exist as a federal commission, and only in 2010 did we become a nonprofit. So fundraising has not always been our standard operating procedure. So we're trying to bring that back into the organization and remembering that we need to fundraise too, just like any other nonprofit, so that we can continue to operate. So signage. Some of you have probably seen our signs around the corridor. They vary from a highway sign to a site-specific sign, these interpretive panels, a map. There are these little circular ones that just kind of pop up on random roads too, when you're kind of driving in or out of the corridor. But these were all put up about 15 plus years ago, back when we were a federal commission, back when there were federal dollars able to fund these projects. And truly back when signage was really necessary because we didn't have the digital connectivity that we have right now to discover these places. Unfortunately, the timing of it when these were created, we did not have some sort of digital database to capture all of these signs. So over the last several years, we've lost track of a lot of them. We don't have a database. We don't have a map that shows us where all the signs are. When we get phone calls or emails from folks saying, "Hey, I found one of your signs. It's buried in some poison ivy on the side of the road. Do you want it?" We have to scramble and figure that out. So that's something we need to address significantly. So the way that we're going to start this project is with hiring a contractor, project manager to lead understanding where all of our signs are. So they will be doing an audit and inventory of all of our signs. This position is posted right now. We've received a lot of great applicants for it, and I'm in the final stages with some folks. So we're hoping to make a decision very, very shortly to be able to then say, hey, we have a person. But so this person will be auditing and inventorying what we have. We have tons of boxes in our office of all the paper material showing the sign designs and planning and where signs might have gone. So it's going to be going through all of that. But then it's also going to be a bit of driving around, finding signs, but also working with the community to identify signs. And I'll talk more about that because that's going to be a really cool part of the project. After phase one, for phase two, design and plan. So really thinking about, do we want these signs to look the same, similar, very different? How do we want to have signage show up throughout the corridor? Working with graphic designers and signage specialists to be able to develop a unified signage program for the corridor and really think about what makes sense. That's why I kind of say between phases one and two, we'll determine some intentionality because I don't want to just say, okay, this sign, it's broken, let's just replace it and be done with it. I want to make sure, does that sign still make sense for that site? There are dozens of signs that got put up back when we were the commission, and it's, a map of the entire corridor in a place where it really should just be a map of the trail that is right there. We can always give a QR code or a reference to check out more places like this, visit our website or visit this map or something else. But we really want to make sure that the signs that are up make sense for people right now, that they're also visible, because as you can see, some of them aren't even visible anymore, which is not great. So we really want to make sure that these things are intentional, useful, helpful for the community. Phase three will be that implementation and installation, which will, honestly, I don't truly know what that'll look like. It may look like every sign is getting updated. It may look like some signs are getting some modifications. We're doing modifications to certain parts of a sign. I can't really say what that's going to look like until we get phase one and really move into phase two. But that's where phase three will be. And then phase four will be a digital companion piece or pieces. A lot of great conversations have come up with folks about, do we want these signs to be something you can take a picture of and easily get onto a QR code that connects you to other places in the corridor? If you're looking at one mill village, where are the other mill villages in the corridor? There's also quarry villages, hilltop villages, turnpike villages, lots of different unique village signs. So I think there's some interesting themes that can come out of that. But then also signage for the bikeway, signage for interpretive sites. The highway signs are a different beast. We will deal with that one soon. So yeah, that's really kind of the scope of the work that this person is going to be doing. But we know this is a lot for one person to take on. So I've already put together some tools for this person to hit the ground running. One of which is very simple technology here, but using a Google map to start mapping where all of these signs are. Possibly we will move over to a GIS system instead, but for now, Google Maps is working like a dream. I've already documented 44 signs just in the course of me driving around the corridor saying, hey, there's a sign. We're trying to say, you know, where the sign is, what is on that sign. If that sign is up, the red signs on this map are saying those signs are actually not up. They're in our office right now because someone has called to say, hey, that fell. Do you want it? So yeah, we need to be able to track where these signs are. So this map currently lives internally and it's my own tracking system for when we have signs that we know about around the corridor. But I've also created a community feedback form. And this is live now. So we haven't shared it out to the public yet because we are working. We want to make sure that we have this signage coordinator ready to start accepting a bunch of submissions. But since you all are familiar with us now, and I can easily be in touch with you, please feel free to use this system. So you can either scan this QR code to get to the page and bookmark it so you have it, or visit blackstoneheritagecorridor.org/sign. Nice and simple. And you can submit a sign that you see, whether it's, oh yeah, I see a sign, it looks fine, or I see a sign and it's falling off its hinges, or I can't read the panel, it's covered in graffiti, whatever it may be. Please share that feedback, whether you're walking your dog around a park and you say like, oh, hey, I noticed this, or you notice our logo on some little sign somewhere. Please share that stuff. It's going to be a very interesting process of trying to get people to notice these things. So once we have our coordinator on board, we're going to be doing a social media campaign and a traditional press media campaign too, to get that awareness up. Really telling people, hey, look around, try to see if you can find them. It's like a bit of a scavenger hunt for folks. We want to make it fun too. So we're thinking of doing some sort of gift card or prize raffle for people submitting signs, saying, okay, whoever submits the most or whoever submits the first sign of this type of sign or something like that. We want to try to do that. Maybe even some design a sign competitions for kids doing it at local libraries, saying like, think about these signs. Here's the dimensions. What would you put on the sign? And even maybe stickers. Some of you know I do love making stickers for different projects and activities. And so this was my mock-up of a quick sticker design just to say, I saw a sign. If that Ace of Base song kicks into your head, then good. So yeah, hoping that we can do some sort of fun campaign activities that get people thinking about signs, looking for them, and helping us identify where they all are. So that's signage. Still a lot to do. Very excited to have someone on board, and I will be giving an update hopefully soon once we have that person joining us. The other big initiative we're working on is advocacy for the Blackstone River Greenway Bikeway. I know it has a bit of an identity crisis with Greenway in Massachusetts and Bikeway in Rhode Island. I'll kind of interchange the two. I'll try to say multi-use path. It all is the same thing, the Blackstone River Greenway Bikeway. So as it stands right now, we have been advocating for 30 plus years to see it completed between Worcester and Providence. Rhode Island is doing great. Rhode Island is beautifully mainly completed with a few small missing segments. So our priorities in Rhode Island are very different. We want to try to up some programming there on the bikeway. We want to talk about getting our bikeway ambassadors more involved, being more visible. We also would like to continue advocating for those missing links. And so we want to keep that as a priority. But Massachusetts is really where the bulk of the work is going to be for us. There's still the giant missing connection between Millbury and Uxbridge. So our focus is working in each of those towns individually to say, hey, what portions can we get done? Right now, in the last couple of weeks, I've had great conversations in Grafton, in Northbridge, and I have a conversation scheduled for next week for Uxbridge. So we're starting to get some traction back, but the challenging thing is that as an organization, advocacy for the Greenway Bikeway has been part of our mission for the last several years, but not part of our operations. We've been saying as an organization, we want to see this done, we want to see this done, but we haven't really built the organization to be able to continue advocating for it beyond it being another thing that the executive director has to do, and another thing that the board has to volunteer their time for, and another thing that people say, we want to see this done, but we can't put a plan to paper. So I'm really, really grateful to say that we got a grant from the National Park Foundation to be able to hire a recreation resource manager. This will be a full-time position with us as the organization. They will be supporting watershed-wide recreation access and engagement activities. So what that's going to look like, their program focus will really be our trail ambassadors and hiking programs, our bikeway ambassadors and any biking programs, and our paddling club, all of which right now are fully run by our volunteers and our volunteer coordinator. So this person will really be focused on the activities around recreation and getting people outside, getting people to engage with these places, and also supporting our partners in their recreation programs too. So whether that's BRWC offering a paddling event and wanting just an extra person to come down and help the volunteers and make sure people feel settled in their kayaks and canoes, we can send this person down there. Whether that's wanting to work with the Park Service for more tours, more activities out in the valley, being a sweep on those hikes, we can help with that. So I'm very excited to have that dedicated person for the program side, but their advocacy focus will be on the Greenway and Bikeway. In partnership with me, of course, but I really want to make sure that we have a secondary person who can be that visible presence at community events and meetings, talking about priorities for these communities, hearing from folks. Do they want to see this happen? We hope the answer is yes. And if it's not yes, why? We'd love to learn more. So right now, the position is paid for by the National Park Service for 1 year. Year 2 will be paid for by private donors. And by year 3, we're hoping that we can reincorporate this back into our operating budget as a whole. So it's not something we are fundraising for every single year, but something we've ingrained into how we work as an organization. So recreation is a big part of what we do and our priorities as a nonprofit. So we will be opening the position at the end of December. The job description will be up on our website and the careers page, so you can easily find that page. So please, when that is up, share it with folks. Let them know that this job is coming. If you know of someone that may be a good fit for this, it's going to be a great role if you love being outdoors, if you love being connected to nature, connecting people to nature. I think it was Kevin Kleiberg at National Park Service that said, we use recreation as a gateway drug to caring about history and culture. And I loved that. I won't quote him on that publicly, but I think it's a great reminder that people getting out on a trail, out into a kayak, walking around and saying, oh, this place is really cool, then starts to continue that engagement and interest in wanting to preserve, promote, celebrate, work with all our shared organizations, and really continue to give back. Another thing that will be coming is an advocacy coalition, name to be determined. I don't know if that's the name we're going to stick with, but essentially it'll be supporters of the Greenway Bikeway, people who want to see this happen. And so we will be bringing this group together in 2026. It's something that will kind of support our recreation resource manager, who will be overseeing a lot of things. We'll need people in each community that want to see the bike path happen. We want to see state agencies that want to see the bike path happen. So this will really be that resource group for a recreation resource manager to go to say, hey, I have some traction here. I have an idea here. How can we work together? So to be determined, more to be announced on that group, but that is on the horizon for the start of 2026. So the big takeaways, if you don't remember anything from my presentation, the two big things to remember, help us find signs when you're out after Thanksgiving, walking around, trying to burn off those turkey calories. Take a look, see if you can find a sign in the area. And if you're interested, please reach out and let me know if you're interested in joining the Advocacy Coalition and support this recreation resource manager when we have them join our team. That's everything.
Amazing. Thank you, Anya. That was so much information and really great. And it's funny because I was driving around yesterday and I saw one of those round Blackstone Heritage Corridor signs with no context and no information, but I just there. And I was like, I should tell Anya that this is here, and I didn't bookmark it, so I'll have to drive back again.
Thanks.
So that, yeah, and I'm really excited about the Advocacy Coalition. Sign us up. We want to be on board. And I'm sure lots of others do too.
Yeah, and I think it's it wouldn't be the Blackstone River Greenway Bikeway without care for the river. And so I think that needs to be a big part of it. Like, we will be working so closely when it comes to creating the Greenway because it means access to the river and it means people seeing it. If it doesn't mean access, it means biking over it, by it, next to it, whatever. If we want to make sure that these two things work together. So as much as this feels very focused on bikes and construction. It is also very focused on river sustainability too. So yeah, we'll definitely be there. Yeah, I was already going to sign you up even if you were like, I
Perfect.
don't know.
Absolutely. We're happy to be on board. Thanks. Does anyone have any questions for Anya? Feel free to jump in, raise your hand, put it in the chat.
One quick question I did have, and it's really obvious when you look at that large, the 30-foot scale of the river where the bikeway is outlined, the difference between Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Why is that? Is it that Rhode Island has better internal state grants for this type of work? That Massachusetts has it? Is it that Massachusetts just that part hasn't been funded, or is it private property? Is there, or it's probably all of them, but like a couple of the key ones.
Yeah, yeah. So, obviously, all of that does predate my time. So, I only have kind of the sound bites from people and what they've given me. But essentially, Rhode Island had more success with railroad connections and having the ability to be able to cross the railroad, run along it. We didn't have that kind of availability or flexibility up in Massachusetts. It's also just the way the river flows up in Massachusetts. I mean, you guys are familiar with the Northbridge portion and Grafton and how windy it can be. Doesn't always make for easy access for a path to run along it. So Massachusetts is really going to be what alternatives can we come up with that tie people to and from the river, but maybe don't run exactly along it consistently, versus obviously how Rhode Island has shaped up to be very consistently along the river. Um, Rhode Island just was on a very different timeline, had very different stakeholders involved. I know Mike Cassidy was a big mover and shaker in that. A lot of folks down in Rhode Island, there was just a lot of momentum down there. And Massachusetts just was a very different beast at the time. I think it's going to be very different though now. I think there's a lot of promising activity from MassDOT, from DCR, from CMRPC. A lot of people are vocalizing how much they want to see the Blackstone River Greenway formed. And so I think we're in a different chapter now where we're going to look at it differently than just, okay, run along the river, 1, 2, 3, go. But how do we want to connect other communities and other resources to be able to make these connections so that it's one continuous trail?
Thanks, David.
Yeah, I thank you, Anya, for this great presentation. I'm very interested in the signage, and we should probably talk offline afterwards about Uxbridge and about the two particular MVP projects I'm involved in, and how they could really merge with what your initiatives are. There's a master plan. You may be aware of this in Uxbridge. It's going to be undertaken. Uxbridge hasn't had a master plan for over 30 years, and finally started getting on board. So you may be aware of that. But yeah, if we could talk for a few minutes offline about all that stuff, that would be great.
That'd be great. Yeah, I believe I have your email, so I will send you a message after this and we can
Okay,
connect.
great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I just as an aside, Northbridge has been working on their master plan, and Kevin Kleiberg and I had the opportunity to meet with CMRPC talking about it, and we were able to talk about the importance of the Greenway being completed in Northbridge and where we see that being a shared priority for both of us, both of our agencies and organizations.
Yeah.
Also talking about signage too, and talking about just like tourism in general, what that looks like, how it looks so different. I
Mm.
just yesterday had a meeting with a business leader saying, how come we don't have tourism the way that we have up in Essex County? And I was like, we just aren't built like that. And we're very different. But what we are focused on is creating great resources for residents who are here to enjoy. And then hopefully other people will want to come visit and enjoy these things too. But starting at that resident level, I think is just still very important. And we know that creating the Greenway is so important for residents to be able to enjoy access for healthy transportation, connecting to communities, so many great things about the bike path.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Any other questions? And maybe Anya, if you want to put your email in the chat, and then if people have specific things that they think about later, they can follow up.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for presenting. That was really helpful, and I'm looking forward to all the next steps. So I wanted to thank everybody for coming to our last collaborative meeting. It was kind of weird not seeing everybody online, but it was nice to be in person and get people together. I think we had about 30 people joining us, going over these printed out maps, and we went over what people's sort of um, goals and vision and sort of driving factors are, driving values, I should say, of this Kitticock Restored Plan. And we heard very clearly that recreation was one of those. So it's very fitting to work really closely with Anya about the bikeway and our partners there, as well as legacy. People were really interested in what is the watershed, what is the river that we're leaving for our children. So we heard you loud and clear. There were a lot of others as well, but those two kind of hit the top. And we clean water, of course, was another one. So we'll use those as sort of some of these visioning goals as we define what this Kitticock Restored Plan looks like and go through each of the sort of segments of river and think about what projects are coming to the top around restoration and access. So I wanted to encourage you to check out our notes from this activity. We are working with Rhode Island School of Design, Emily Vogler and Ben Bailey, and they're doing this really cool work where they put everything online on what's called a Miro board. If you're like me, I am not tech friendly. I've never heard of this before, but it's pretty cool. You can kind of zoom in and out and click on things. You can add sticky notes. There's sort of this overview key and mentions of, what are these values that people were really interested in. And then if you zoom in, you can actually see all of these little sticky notes that people put in. So it's pretty cool. And you can get to that from the link in here, or if you go to our website at blackstonecollaborative.org/river-restored, you can get here as well. So for academic partnerships and research, we just wanted to highlight that we got this grant quite a while ago, but it's the Rooting Resilience Grant through River Network. It's USDA funded, and we're working with Worcester Tech High School. They are creating this new urban forestry academy, and their students they've been interested in doing this for a really long time. They'd applied for a few different grants to start this pilot program, and we finally got it funded. So we're really excited about it. And we're working with a lot of different partners, as we always do. And so these students have been able to go around both within our watershed and just the state and see different sites and think about urban forestry, community forestry, indigenous values, and all of these sort of different things. So they went to Pequoig Farm, which is run by the Nipmuc tribe in Orange, Massachusetts, Harvard Forest to see these like long-term ecological projects, Broadmeadow Brook, the largest urban wildlife sanctuary in New England, right here in Worcester, Hadwin Arboretum, Perkins Farm, and Worcester's Miyawaki Forest, all of which are in Worcester and very different. So it's been really cool to have the students get out there and learn about measuring trees and why we have them and how to incorporate them in these different environments and how to steward them. I don't have any other academic updates. Does anyone else have any academic updates that they'd like to include? Okay. For access, we're putting it out there again. I feel like we've said this the past few meetings, but we are working with all of our main STEM communities specifically to talk about access and other things that we saw on our paddle back in September, different priorities that we found that might be opportunities for new access points, revitalized ones, or some restoration opportunities. We took the town of Millbury out on the river. It was fantastic. It was like their first time getting out there and being able to see this. And we already found two different sites that the town owns, and they're really interested in moving forward and creating official access there. So right away, we've already found some real big wins. So if you are part of a main STEM community, please reach out. If we haven't reached out to you yet, or if you haven't been able to schedule something with us yet, we would love to meet with you. Another sort of broader update, we recently went to the RCP gathering, the Regional Conservation Partnership gathering. If you're not aware, the Blackstone Collaborative is also a regional conservation partnership and part of this larger New England landscape partnership group. So they have sort of another umbrella organization. We're an umbrella in the Blackstone, then there's an umbrella of these Northeast partnership groups. And it really sparked our thought of what are all the land trusts in the area and how can we work together on priorities? And this honestly isn't something we've actually thought a lot about, surprisingly. Most of our work is more on the restoration side and not the straight conservation side. But I think it's really worth having a more intentional conversation. So Kaylee put together this map of what our different land trusts are. We have the data for Rhode Island and we haven't put it in yet. So I know that there are also land trusts in Rhode Island, but this is our sort of starting place. And we'll hopefully be reaching out with some of these land trusts coming up in the winter to set something up and just think about how some of our priorities overlap between what we've identified as sort of priority areas to work in, what communities have told us are priority parcels that they're interested in, and then what land trusts are working on. Does anyone have any comments on this? I know also that like DCR, for instance, is another large landholder that isn't specifically on here as a land trust. If you're part of a land trust, let us know. We'd be happy to work with you and sort of start this conversation. But it is a back burner to do. Anything else on access? Okay. Anya covered our bikeway greenway. Is there anything else that folks want to mention on that? Okay. For fish passage, I was thinking actually that we maybe want to have another presentation about this and get you folks up to date on what's going on. But I'll give you a really quick overview. If you haven't checked out our website, if you go to blackstonecollaborative.org/fish passage, you can kind of scroll through and see a lot of overview information. But we recently updated it to include a link and some images of what the renderings look like of when we're trying to get fish passage. So when we're trying to restore migratory fish to the Blackstone River, it doesn't just mean that we're bringing fish over these dams and restoring access. We're also making it a downtown revitalization project with everything that's happening in Pawtucket and Central Falls already. So this is one of the images from the renderings that Fuss and O'Neill have put together. This is the upstream side, so near Slater Mill. And you can see that it would include all of this seating area. If you're familiar, this is sort of that triangle parcel that you drive by that's just sort of a sloped grassy area right now. So they're proposing some areas of pavement where trucks could get through and do maintenance, and then reusing some of the stones from the walls to create little bench seating and make it a real inviting place. And yeah, so I'm happy to talk more about it if folks have questions. But I also wanted to give you a really quick update that this is hot off the press. We just heard this at a meeting yesterday, and I don't actually have all the slides for it yet. But Fuss and O'Neill also presented some really early stage alternatives that they're looking at for Elizabeth Webbing Dam. So these renderings are for a fish passage around the lowest two dams, Main Street and Slater Mill. The third dam is Elizabeth Webbing Dam, owned by the state of Rhode Island. And so they looked at both vertical slot fishway and nature like fishway at several different potential elevation reductions. So the dam itself is around 11 feet tall right now. We think about 6 feet of that is natural ledge that the dam was built on top of. So we have an opportunity to potentially remove up to about 5 feet. So they modeled both 2, 4, and 5 foot spillway reductions on both of these vertical slot and nature like fishway. And so we're still looking through these options. They haven't completed the full matrix of comparing cost and benefits, both to recreation and fish and maintenance and all of these other different things. So by the end of the month in December, by the end of the year, we should have that information to share as well. Does anyone have any questions about fish passage in general? And again, maybe it's just another conversation that we have to kind of share this. Well, the information's on our website. We don't have the Elizabeth Webbing there yet because we haven't gotten those slides, but as soon as we get them, we will add them on there as well. Heather.
Hi, this isn't about fish passage, but I just realized nobody from the BRWA was on the meeting today, and I know for the bikeway part, sorry to jump back.
No worries.
they're working with the DCR and the I believe the city of Millbury to map invasive plants on that Millbury Worcester section, and they're involving the Millbury High School Environmental Club with removal, and they're looking to have a pollinator garden as well, I believe in that area. Just I don't have all the update, but just throwing that out there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
I know that
maybe know
Kaylee's
more
also
about it.
in. Thanks, Heather. I know that Kaylee's also involved with that and
Yes.
helping with the mapping side, but yeah, I don't know a lot about it yet because I don't think it's quite started. I know that they had, if it's still open, they had an RFP out to hire someone to do the field work of determining where the invasives are.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have an update on that next time. Maybe they'll pick a contractor. So for water quality, we have this exciting news, if you didn't hear, that the city of Worcester held their CSO LTCP, all the acronyms, their long-term control plan. Basically, what is their long-term plan for controlling combined sewers? So they outlined 4 different alternatives, which were to maximize storage, maximize sewer separation, maximize treatment capacity at the CSO treatment facility on Quinsigamond Avenue, and then maximizing treatment capacity at Upper Blackstone Clean Water. So likely it will end up being some combination of these different efforts, but they have kind of quickly crossed off alternative 2 because of the cost. Um, when we asked them about sort of long-term impacts and are they modeling for climate change, the answer was no. The way that they chose these different modeling scenarios was by looking at the last 20 years of data and what were the most common storms. And their goal specifically is to reduce their CSOs to 4 per year because that's what their EPA requirement would be. And so typically we see more like 12 to 15 CSOs per year. So we're quite a bit above that right now. But it's also interesting because it's times per year and not necessarily millions of gallons. So I still have a lot of questions here. If you're interested in this topic too, and you want to think through it with us, we have our next combined sewer overflow working group meeting on, I think that's wrong. Is it Wednesday? I thought it was on
I
Monday.
thought it was wrong too. I just checked. It is on Wednesday. It was in my calendar on Monday for some reason, but it's Wednesday.
It's in my calendar for Monday also. Are we sure it's Wednesday?
Yeah,
It's
same here.
Monday the 24th. The number there is right. The day of the week is wrong. Apologies. We're going to figure out this puzzle. It's normally on, I think, Wednesdays, but it's on Monday, this coming Monday, the 24th. From 1 to 2 p.m. We can share the link with you. And that's open to whoever wants to come. It's typically a smaller subset of folks who work on CSO, including both the Narragansett Bay Commission and the City of Worcester. But we're happy to chat more about that. One of our goals is to simply compile all of the questions that we have and dive into those alternatives a little bit more. Since our last meeting, we also had one CSO event on October 30th. So there were about 3 million gallons of treated effluent that went through their sort of preliminary treatment at Quinsig facility, and nothing was fully untreated. Any questions or comments on CSO or other water quality? I don't know if I've specifically mentioned this, but probably I should have thrown it in a slide also that the collaborative is working with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, CMRPC, as well as Horsley Witten and FB Environmental to complete a watershed-based plan. Maybe this could be also a future speaker update of giving you guys an overview of what that means. But a watershed-based plan is like an EPA 9-element plan that once implemented then allows communities to be eligible for 319 funding, which is implementation water quality improvement implementation funding. So that was our goal, was to bring everybody on a level playing field of being able to move forward on implementation and to sort of get this zoomed out big picture idea and categorization of where dirty water is coming from, right? What are those potential pollutant load areas, and what are our options for improving water quality at sort of this big picture scale? Nick, I feel like you say it better than me. Is there anything that you want to add there?
Sure. I'll just add kind of some context about the geographic scope because I think that's a obvious
Yes,
question.
thank you.
Sure. So, because of funding availability and limitations for now, the scale is just the Massachusetts portion of the watershed. Not because we weren't interested in both portions. It's just that's where the funding was available and how this funding is allocated at different state levels. And then because of the scale of the Blackstone, we're doing what we're calling kind of a high level watershed plan to have a watershed plan then in place for the whole Massachusetts portion for the reason Steph just went through. And then the longer term vision for the plan is that we would eventually do more sub-watershed scale plans that are in more detail over the subsequent years or decade, I should say. And then those kind of mini watershed plans would then be stitched back together into like a comprehensive vision for the whole watershed. And again, because of the scale of the Blackstone and the funding available, that approach seems to be the most strategic because then what we're doing is checking the box, like Steph said, for the whole Massachusetts watershed by having this Massachusetts-wide plan, but then being able to get into more details in subsequent sub-watershed plans over the coming years. I mean, of course, we'd love to do everything all at once. It's just the way funding and capacity and scale ends up working out in this case because the Blackstone is um, bigger than some of the other watersheds where we see this type of work. So that approach is not made up. It's been successful in other larger watersheds, and we thought for the Blackstone, because of the scale and complexity, that this approach would be helpful and strategic for setting the Blackstone up for this kind of long-term vision and success. So yeah, that's probably a lot, but happy to go back through or answer any questions on that. Um, I think that's just helpful to kind of understand where we're going. And like Steph said, we're more than happy to come back and do a more detailed presentation. And of course, there'll be stakeholder engagement as part of this project anyway. So this is maybe the first you're hearing of this project, but definitely won't be the last.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're working on a web page that will get up pretty soon once we get approvals. And we will definitely be doing a specific collab presentation on it, as well as Nick said, in person and Zoom meetings about this. So you definitely will be hearing from us. We're also compiling a steering committee for this project specifically. And so you might be hearing from me about that as well if we're looking for some key individuals who work in water quality to join that. And BRWA and BRC are both funded partners under this work as well. Anything else on water quality? Kudos to BRC for completing another year. Their last water quality monitoring day was this month.
Yes, we just finished that. We're working on getting all the data together to submit it to DEP and the EPA's online WQX website. So, and that takes a little while, but and that and up on our website. Right now, our data up to 2023 is on our website. If you check that out, you can see it there as well. So,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. For dam removal and restoration projects, I just wanted to highlight that yesterday we had a webinar with the SNEP network on the Merrill Ponds Wildlife Management Area Complex. So this is some secret projects. I sort of joke, I'm teasing them about it a bit, but Mass Wildlife removed 4 dams in Sutton, Massachusetts as part of their wildlife management area starting back in 2012. And they've been working on this for the past like 13 years, working in this sort of 7 dams. They've chosen to remove 4. Some are repaired, one was left. And I didn't know about them. We kept touting like these dams removals that we're working on in Uxbridge and in Douglas will be the first in the watershed in modern history for the Blackstone. And then I went to this EBC dam removal site visit and I said, oh my gosh, we have done this, and we did it weirdly enough in the town that I live in. I didn't live here at the time that it was getting permitted, which is probably why I didn't hear about it. But there have now been dam removals in our watershed, so it's really exciting. And when I found this out, I sort of strong-armed both Mass Wildlife and Ty and Bond, who was the lead engineer on this, to do a webinar with us, which we completed yesterday. It was really informative. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's not on their website yet, but give them another day or so and it will be there. There's the link there. And they're also going to put up a sign on site talking about what they did. They're going to write a magazine article for Mass Wildlife. They're going to do a case study. So, to their credit, as soon as I harassed them, they were like, whoops, you're right. We should tout this. So I'm really excited to get this information out there. And it was just really helpful yesterday to hear these different perspectives about everything going on here. There were rare species involved. Some of this water was used for fire suppression, so there were those concerns. It is on a scenic byway, so the community had concerns about aesthetics. There are all of these different competing factors in this dam removal process, and all of the things were addressed. The town was happy with it, and now they're kind of more open to other potential projects moving forward. So it was really exciting. David.
Yeah, I was there and attended it. It was a wonderful presentation, and for anybody involved with dam removal at all, if you've got a spare hour when this gets posted, it's worth listening to. It spans, like Stephanie said, it spans 13 years, and listening to the whole story of how it unfolded and all the complexity and creativity that people needed to use to get this done was just incredible. So it was a great session. I appreciated it very much.
Thanks, David. Does anyone else have any other updates in dam removal or restoration projects? Okay. We have finally signed everything with EEA for our dam and seawall program. So we are now going through full design and permitting for the 2 dam removals in Douglas, Massachusetts. So we're really excited about that. And the one in Uxbridge that David is managing is slated to occur in summer of 2026. So coming up, and we're going to be doing a video on that, of a time-lapse video showing how things change over time before, during, and after dam removal. So we're really excited to be able to share that as another opportunity to learn about what does this look like, because everyone's first concern is, I don't want a mud flat in my backyard. So that'll be pretty exciting. For grants, we're just trying to kind of keep track and be transparent about what we're up to in the background. Now that we have Kevin on board, we're like paying attention even more. He's keeping me on track. So we recently applied to 2 different grants. One is the Rhode Island Foundation for $15,000, basically for staff capacity to be able to keep doing the things that we do. And the other was the MORE grant, the Mass Office of Outdoor Recreation. So that was a $10,000 grant. And if awarded, then we will be doing a kayaking program in the spring of 26 to get college students specifically out on the river and sort of get them interested in stewardship. So we would do it as a progressive tiered approach of, let's do a really easy flat paddle. Let's do sort of a mid paddle of you've learned some skills now, and then a harder paddle. So we'd be teaching skills and safety, and just introducing them to how to access the river. So we're pretty excited, fingers crossed on that one. We also helped the town of Grafton to submit an EOI for the DER program, furthering both their Merriam Road project as well as beginning a replacement on their Adams Road project. So another fingers crossed that Grafton gets to move forward on those river connectivity work. Kevin, do you want to take this one?
Sure, yeah, and I'll also just add in with the Moore grant. We're really excited for that because we've really tried to establish how hard it is to paddle on the river. Not only do you need a kayak, because there's only one place to rent a kayak on the entire river, but also you need somewhere to store it and you need a way of transporting it. So written within that grant is transportation from the local universities to be able to get them there. It also improves our capacity because we'd be able to purchase kayaks for their use and then be able to store afterward. So being able to get more folks out onto the river, because right now we just use our personal kayaks. There are no collab kayaks, and when we need extras, we're always asking for friends of the Blackstone. So it's a great opportunity. So really, really hopeful for that. With the giving page, so when I came on, we said, okay, how much money do we have in federal? How much money do we have state? And how much do we have private? And private was very, very limited. We do get some sponsorships for programs that we have, but there really wasn't an opportunity for anyone in the community to give to the Blackstone Collaborative. That's what they're interested in. I also went to a Ipswich River Watershed Association walk where they were saying that they have, I think it was 1,500 people that donate monthly, and their minimum donation is $50. And we said, wow, there's a lot of money out there that we scrape and we scratch sometimes, and sometimes people want to be able to help out the community just monetarily instead of doing a trash pickup or something of that sort. So we created this page with that in mind. Right now, again, full transparency, over the course of multiple years, we have about $1.6 million in grant funding. However, 1.1 of those are completely out the door in subcontracting right away. So that's really the entire effort of the collaborative, is to be able to get these funds to just get projects going, but that just costs a lot of money for other people to do. So um, it's a great little page. If you have any notes, please let me know. There's options of a one-time only, every month, every year. You can also pay for the service fees if you're interested in that as well. But we really, really appreciate your support. Anything that you can give, tell a friend. If you have a Christmas present, that's always great too. So really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm really bad at asking for money, and because we're all about capacity building, I've always avoided small donation requests and decided to just opt for those sort of larger organizations and federal or state grants. But Kevin's reminded me we were just sort of at that point where we need to at least offer the opportunity for people to donate. Because anytime people have asked me, I've just sort of said, give it to other smaller organizations. But we had a grant that we're really counting on fall through, and we are looking to make that back up with some private funding. So we really appreciate your support. So with that, I'll hand it over to everyone else's updates. There were a few that people asked us to share. One is the Narragansett Bay Estuary Program has this consulting opportunity to determine the economic value of water quality improvements in Narragansett Bay. I am absolutely not an environmental economist, so I couldn't tell you a lot about this, but just a note that it's available. There's a link here to the RFQ, and you can talk to Courtney if you are interested in applying to that. Also, MVP has their 2.0 grant now open for the 26-7 year. And so those applications are due the 15th of next month. And communities that have older plans have priority for getting this round of MVP 2.0 grants, which include this year Grafton, Millbury, and Shrewsbury. So if your community is working on that, please let us know. We're happy to help. And if you want to get a head start and apply, let us know. We're happy to, at the very minimum, provide a letter of support for your work. Mass Rivers also has this interesting new opportunity to provide technical assistance around dam removal. So they're working with some consultants to provide up to $20,000 worth of consultant time to each to 3 different technical assistance awardees. There's no match required. So if you're looking for sort of early phase scope planning to support a dam removal project, you can reach out to Andrea, and there's her email there, and we'll have it in the notes for you. So pretty exciting that there's a lot going on. Any other updates? I'll stop and hand it to you guys. I think we had Heidi mentioned that she was joining late and she maybe didn't get a chance to join, and she had some updates on advocacy work. So if we don't get hers in this meeting, I'll include those in the notes. Anyone have any updates that they want to share?
Let me just mention our second MVP project in Uxbridge. It's the creation of a pocket forest along the lines of the thing that Worcester has done with their Miyakawa forest. It's an educational forested area, which is also a memorial, an Angel of Hope memorial, where parents uh, honor children that they've lost. It's an interesting area. We've had it looked at from a bird habitat point of view, and it's got a pond there with a lot of good bird habitat. We're trying to identify trees and all that, and it's really going along very nicely. It's we want to get a lot of community engagement also, and we're going to have a public listening session in January sometime, which I'll share with people. And if anybody knows anybody in Uxbridge that wants to be on our posse, as we call the implementing organization, let me know. But it's sort of exciting. It's great.
Thanks, David. I feel like you
Yeah,
guys do such a good job of thinking holistically about projects and bringing in all these sort of different potential co-benefits.
yeah. I'm good at holistic thinking, but bad at implementation sometimes.
Good
So
at implementation. What we thought was the first dam removal. You're still the first municipal dam removal in the watershed.
oh,
So,
okay, okay, great. I'll take it.
Heather.
I'll also speak for the BRWA again. I'm part of their education team for we go into schools, mainly fifth grade classrooms, and present about just general watershed, what a watershed is. And so we did a program at Slater Mill back before the shutdown and everything. And then we did for homeschool families. And then we did most recently a program at for the fifth grade in Grafton. And it was really nice because we had the watershed and us part of the program in the morning, and then the afternoon, the DPW came and cleaned out a catch basin in front of the kids' school, and they all went out and got to say how gross it was, and and it made an impact, and we, cheered for the DPW workers keeping the catch basins clean and stuff. So it was really nice, and we're trying to incorporate that into all our school programs now. So we're um, working with the Worcester MVP to to do 4 programs in the Worcester schools, and we're working with David and Uxbridge to do a couple programs there as well. So
Yeah, I saw the pictures from that. It was really neat. And the students definitely are super engaged. It's much better to bring them out and watch a catch basin cleaning than to just talk about it.
yeah, has an
Thanks,
impact.
Heather.
That's great. Yeah.
Robert?
So we're hoping to get the partnership grant out for new partnerships coming up for restoration in the new year. It's still under approval, but just want to let people know about that and hoping to host a webinar early December about just how the partnership program currently works. Not really about the RFR, but webinar soon. So just want to let people know to take a look out probably the second week of December, like a Thursday, probably. I don't know. Still approvals, but just wanted to give a heads up.
Thank you. You know that we've got our eye open on that one. Judy.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone that the Watershed Planning Program's 2026 Water Quality Monitoring Grant is due today at 5 p.m. So I hope folks have had the opportunity to prepare proposals for us and get those submitted by the end of the day. And also just kind of a brief look ahead, we're anticipating that we will be releasing the RFPs for the 2026 Clean Water Act Section 604B. That's the Water Quality Planning Grant, and also the 319 Non-Point Source Implementation Grant. March, April, somewhere around then. We're just now in the process of updating the RFPs for this upcoming round and taking all the steps that we need to take to go through the review process. But just to give you plenty of heads up if you're planning or if you'd like to plan a project. That's kind of our time a time frame and start thinking about your projects now.
Great. Thanks, Judy. Heidi, you made it just in time. Do you want to share the update that you had mentioned earlier? Heidi, do we have your audio? I think you're making a face and trying to figure it out. Anyone else have other things that they wanted to share?
Two quick things to add just
Yeah.
for the good of the group. We have that 30-foot model, or Rhode Island School of Design has that 30-foot model that we are looking for places that it would be effective. Still has some touches that needs to be done, needs to be finished. So if you spill something on it, it doesn't stain forever. But if there are opportunities that you're interested in, like I said, it does point out the bikeway. So if that's taking a couple sections of the model to a meeting with the municipality and showing these are the parts of the bikeway that aren't currently connected, like this would be a great opportunity. Or anything like that, please let us know. We'd love for public eyes to be on it as much as possible. And then also, we got a weird but exciting opportunity from Amazon where they have pallets of drinks that are completely fine. They just don't sell it anymore, or they're just overstocked. So we have two pallets showing up at Stephanie's house at the by the end of today of just drinks. No idea what the drinks are. We'll find out. But if you have a program coming up that you need beverages for, please let us know. This is like an open door with Amazon as well, where they had 36 pallets. We could only take two because Steph's barn's only so big. But
I don't
if
want
you
them all
have
to explode.
exactly, yeah. So if you have anything that these could go to, more than happy to throw it in the back of Stephanie's truck and get it to you, or find a meetup spot. Anya with the Champions of the Blackstone coming up. If you folks need drinks, let us know. And anything that you folks have completely free, we'll get it to you. So just reach out.
And we don't want to store 2 pallets worth of drinks. So please,
Yeah.
please take them from us.
And in the same breath, like if you just want them for your office, that's completely fine too. They're just free and sitting there. So like you guys want some energy drinks, great, they might be there. You want water, great, they might be there. I have no idea.
We'll let you know what it is. I think it got delivered while I was on this call, so I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, we genuinely thought it was spam. I thought it was a fake thing because they reached out and they'd heard about us through the water quality monitoring program. Actually, one of the women who works there is a volunteer and she heard about the collaborative and thought maybe we'd like this. So reached out and said, would you like some free things? And she said there's also an opportunity for additional donations like office furniture. So that's another option. If people are like, I've been really needing a new office chair, let us know. We can ask. It doesn't hurt. And we'll see what they have. And we're happy to, we've sort of jokingly been um, what's the word? A hub or like a resource for all the different information. So we're happy to be that kind of hub for free Amazon supplies too. Um, thanks, Kevin, for that reminder. Heidi, I will hand it to you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I'm so late. I was in another meeting and it went over. So just quick updates on wetland restoration streamlining efforts and the Mass Ready bond bill. So thank you to those of you who have signed on to the statement in support of transforming permitting for restoration projects. We have, I think, 63 groups on there now, including the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative. And if your organization or your community, like a conservation commission, is not yet on there, we're still accepting sign-ons. And we have the Stephanie, do you have the PDF, the most recent one? I can share it and also the link to the form to sign on. So there's that, and I think it's having some impact. We've shared that with EEA and DEP, and so they are aware it's not just like a handful of people seeking this. And I think we're finally really making some headway there. I don't know if you all noticed in the biodiversity goals, the recommendations for implementation, one of the top ones was like streamlining restoration permitting. I noticed yesterday on the Merrill Ponds webinar that they had that statistic from DER that it takes on average 600 days to permit a dam removal. I'm like trying to compile all this information because there's also the Resilient Mass Finance Strategy has now been finalized. And it has some numbers in there about like the range of average cost for a culvert replacement, a dam removal, different things like that. So I'm trying to put all this information like in a chart and comparing it with the goals of, we need to remove this many dams, we need to, um, uh, you know, restore this many wetlands, etc. It's interesting because on the culverts, like the biodiversity strategy, I think says 1,250 culverts to be replaced by 2050, whereas the finance strategy recognizes that based on the NACA, evaluations that have been done of all the thousands of culverts that have been evaluated, like on average, probably half of them need to be replaced. So they base their cost estimates more on that kind of a rapid. So anyway, there's a lot of good information coming out and being shared with the agencies, and interest in the refining the language in Mass Ready Act, the Environmental Bond Bill. I've had conversations with the EA and DEP about trying to work together because we're kind of like in alignment at a high level on this and some other things in there, but the exact language that they have in the bill isn't exactly what we think is correct. So that we now have the door open to work with them. The bill itself is not expected to move out of committee until January. So there's a little bit of time. So I'm working with MACC and CLF and Mass Rivers and others on all of this, and just wanted to convey that, I think we're finally really making some progress. It's still going to take some time to get there, but
Yeah. Thanks, Heidi. And the more I learn about Rhode Island permitting for dam removals, the more I learn that it's even harder than the current in Massachusetts. If there are any wetland impacts, it's often like a full stop, and it's hard to put this into context of this wetland might be here right now, but if you zoom out and think about a river's timeline and perspective, this is a blip for it. It was a river. Let's put it back to a river. We just have this specific idea of what it is right now of having to retain that resource area, and that's not how it should be.
and even beyond that, I mean, those obsolete dams, they're harming the river system. Every day they remain in place, it's causing harm. And the same thing like with the cranberry bog restorations, which I know there's not a lot in the Blackstone watershed, but anywhere where there's been historic fill or historic channelization of a stream and making it straight or putting it in a culvert or diverting it, those are all just having ongoing negative impacts to the resources, and trying to flip the switch like let's treat those differently because the regulatory system still considers removing those things as impact, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, totally agree. So thank you, Heidi. And it reminded me the last thing I wanted to ask you guys, and I know maybe some of us are kind of checked out and moving on because our meeting's ending in a minute, but we were interested in what you want to hear for other speakers. So when we hear about kind of interesting initiatives, we share those and ask people to be speakers. But if there are specific things that you want, we're happy to organize them. So this has happened in the past that folks wanted an update on, I think it was like the MS4 permit last year or something like that. And we found some speakers from EPA in the States and brought them in to provide an update. So if there are particular issues or topics that you'd like to learn more about, you can tell me here. You can shoot me an email anonymously. Whatever works. Send me a text message, and we'll try and figure out how we can get you a speaker. So we've thought about this resilient mass financing strategy, and it's a little over my head, but it would be interesting to have someone present something a little more comprehensively and bring it down to scale of what that was. We have thought about the green infrastructure bond in Rhode Island as well, and providing an update on where these two bonds are, and what's included in each of them and their priorities. We have thought about the Massachusetts uh, resilient playbook and yeah, the resilient playbook and the Office of Climate Science, the tools that they have, because I have not wrapped my head around all these different tools that they have, and maybe finding something similar in Rhode Island. Drew, I'd probably look to you for that, and doing sort of a an overview. But maybe there are other things. Does anyone have ideas or things you've been hearing from communities or partners or not
Those
yet?
all sound good.
Yeah.
Even though I participated in the finance stakeholder process and I'm somewhat familiar with it, I think
Yep.
it'd be beneficial. But whether you can get the state to share it that way or not is another question, because I don't think they're even putting it up on their website.
No, I have an email from the secretary and it or undersecretary. It does not include a link to the document. It just says thank you and it is complete. So
Exactly. I asked and they said it's not up
yeah,
there. And I think the number is too big and scary. It's 90 billion to 130 billion total that's needed by 2050. Um, and so I suspect it will never. I was actually really surprised that they gave us the final report, even though they don't want to publicize it themselves. So,
interesting. Yeah. Um, so anyway, we can kind of think about what some of those opportunities are and come back to you. And we also have heard from several folks that they want to do another tour of Upper Blackstone. So Amanda, I know I've reached out to you in the past and I have totally my fault dropped the ball on scheduling something. But I'd love to just pick a date and maybe a rain date in the spring and just get that on everybody's calendar because it has come up several times that people are really interested in doing that tour. So maybe in like late March, we can put that on the calendar. Great. Well, if no one has any other updates, I will let you guys go. And just a note that our next meeting is December 19th, third Friday, continuing that. And we will be sending out a new invitation for 2026. We don't have that on your calendar yet. So look for that. And we anticipate just keeping it unless people want to change it. Friday mornings. Hearing none. We'll probably keep it. So have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you in December. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have
Thanks,
a good one.
everybody. Be
Thanks,
well.
everybody. Appreciate it.